Don't lie to tech support. At my previous job I worked on the business support desk. One of the products we offered was a SIM/data management service. Basically you would buy a block of data, say 100 gigabytes per month, and however many SIM cards you needed, then you can assign data to SIM cards as needed via the customer portal. We weren't the actual cellular network provider, we just sold data and SIMs on their network. We would often receive tickets regarding SIM cards not working. 90% of the time it was a configuration issue, you needed to use the correct VPN to connect. Other issues were signal problems and faulty devices, not the SIM cards themselves. They don't just suddenly become faulty bar the odd dud one from the factory. On this particular day I received an urgent ticket first thing in the morning about a SIM that was offline and not reachable.
The tech who logged it was very insistent that this was an urgent issue and wanted constant updates. I checked from our portal and could see that the SIM still had data assigned, so it was not a simple issue of running out of the assigned data. Our first response in this sort of situation is to have the user check the physical SIM, take it out and reinsert it, and confirm that the correct VPN was in use. Our T&Cs firmly state that this is the user's responsibility as the SIM could be anywhere in the country. Not long after asking the above, the tech responds that the checks have been done and asking for an ETA on resolution. At this point I was pretty sure that they were lying and had not checked anything. I get a sixth sense about these things but had no proof.
At this point our next option is to have the cellular network provider check the SIM, which takes at least a few hours. With the tech continuing to hound me, I ended up escalating the call with the provider, who confirmed that there were no issues in the area and that the SIM was offline. By now it was mid-afternoon and I was getting very annoyed with how the tech kept asking for escalations and ETAs when I knew they were lying about performing the requested checks from their side. If they had done the checks, this would mean that the SIM card just failed after working for months. That just doesn't happen. I decided that it was time to comply with the tech's request to expedite the issue. I drafted an email confirming
1. The tech had performed the requested checks. 2. The cellular network could not find any issues. 3. The SIM had sufficient data available. 4. The next step was a SIM swap, which I would ensure was done immediately. As soon as the email was sent, I called the individual responsible for SIM swaps, and by the end of the call the swap was complete. For those that don't know, a SIM swap is irreversible and renders the old SIM completely unusable. Shortly after, the tech's manager got involved and asked us to postpone the SIM swap as they wanted to check the device on site. Confirming my suspicion that this was never done, I replied that the tech had informed us that all the on-site checks were done already and that the SIM swap was expedited due to his insistence. Turns out that the SIM was in some networking equipment in a mine in a remote province of the country. The tech's company now had to send someone to our office to pick up the new SIM, then drive all the way to a remote mine to replace it. Potentially a 2-day job. I am not sure if the tech received any disciplinary action, but he never asked to escalate a SIM issue ever again. There was no fallout for us as we were covered by the T&Cs. The trick I learned is to ask them a question about whatever it is you want to check. Example. Use, is your copier plugged directly into the wall or a surge protector, and if the latter, tell me how many lights and of what color are showing. As opposed to, is your machine plugged in? The former gets them to plug the machine in and resolves the problem. The latter gets a belligerent customer who knows for sure the machine is plugged in and has to have a tech drive 3 hours to plug in the machine. Yes. I took it out and put it back in. Okay. Well, we've done all the other TS. So I'm sending you a new one. It'll be there in 3 to 5 business days. Swap it in when it gets there. It'll already be active when it arrives. How do I do that? Quote. The same way I just told you. Only a business week from now. Shoulda told the truth. Oh, I feel your pain. I just got through a great chat with Razer tech support over a non-working mouse dongle. I anticipate dumb questions and stuff. I'm also a former marine engineer, so troubleshooting is my second nature. Sent a picture of a screenshot of HWINFO showing, no device connected, while an actual picture of the dongle plugged directly into the USB port. HWINFO was great, so I could pinpoint where in the USB bus chain exactly the dongle was supposed to be recognized. I've had 2 positive experiences so far with Razer tech support. But I also go out of my way to provide as much troubleshooting information as possible. The other with a Razer Phone 2 with a USB-C port that stopped connecting data.
The story is a little dry for the average person, but for those of us who've worked in tech support, this just hits the spot. Sweet compliance.
As I learned from watching House MD, all patients lie. I see this applies to customers and users as well. I used to work in IT for a large mining company. I'm willing to bet the tech got their ass handed to them. Especially if anything mine safety was connected to that networking equipment. The company I worked for took mine safety extremely serious and would go nuts if you did anything that might compromise any infrastructure that supported hardware that monitored the mine for safety. Great post. You should post this on our Tales from Tech Support too. They would love it. Rule 0 in Tales from Tech Support, users lie. Quote. The tech's company now had to send someone to our office to pick up the new SIM. Then drive all the way to a remote mine to replace it. That tech probably had it coming to them via manglement. Personally, in their position, I'd take it over the apparent monotony of their usual job.
I love this one.
Haha, love it. Thanks for posting this. Ah yes. Always assume Rule 1 was never followed unless you had them do it yourself. God, I'll never understand why people lie about shit like this. It's so common in any kind of tech support job. It's like people just cannot put aside their egos to get the problem solved. Like it being something simple that they couldn't figure out is an indicator of their worth as a human being. The worst are the people that have to constantly flex their knowledge to you, even though they're calling and can't figure it out. The flip side of this is Comcast customer support. I hate them so much. I'll have restarted my router multiple times, gone into the firmware to see if there is any issues, reseated my cables, basically checked everything on my end, then I call up their customer support and the automated system says, "You need to restart your router and call us back in 10 minutes, and hangs up on you. It's the most annoying thing ever. I've already done all that. And if you call back before the 10 minutes, they just hang up again." The motto that I give to the newbies that have full faith in the customer's word is, trust, but verify. I used to do tech support for cafes and restaurants across the UK. Some big household names. I would have the manager tell me they have done whatever troubleshooting step I suggested and that I should just fix it. My go-to was, "No problem, I will organize an engineer visit. But be aware that if they turn up to do one of the steps I have already suggested, you will be charged £300 for the visit." The amount of times they would backtrack and be like, "Oh wait, let me check it one more time. Yep, the Ethernet cable had come loose. It's working now," was ridiculous. I did everything I was supposed to, but it didn't work. Quote. I heard that lie so often. And I'd go through the steps. It would work perfectly. Well, it didn't work for me. Yeah. 'Cause you did it wrong. I hope they had sent the technician to retrieve the SIM at your office and do the swap in the mine. If I lie to tech support, it is because I have already tried everything they are suggesting. I also don't call tech support unless I am certain the issue is on their end. I have tried everything on their support site and probably also from Google results.
A SIM swap is reversible.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.